always says that there are two things you can watch forever without getting bored. One is fire, the other one is other people working. So this is a time lapse to start with of Ira varnishing our wheel, myself, Shane in the background varnishing accent pieces on the cabin top, and this is all on our 1981 Catalina 30, which we named Salty Bob. At the time we bought this Catalina 30, we were living in a duplex in Sausalito and spent about 2 years refitting the entire boat, mostly on the interior, as well as new lines and just cleaning up the exterior. We bought the boat originally so that Ira would learn how to sail on a boat that we could smash around and beat up. And after some talking back and forth, figured that moving from a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath duplex in Sausalito, we could probably move on to a Catalina 30 and be just fine. So we fixed it up, we renovated the interior, and made it an entirely livable space, even if it was a little cramped. Here's a beautiful day sailing in the summertime in San Francisco. And here's a beautiful day sailing in the summertime in San Francisco in winter. Ira likes to sail her Bight mostly in the winter because it's lighter air in San Francisco Bay. San Francisco gets as windy as it does because the internal Central Valley of California gets so hot that the air rises, sucking air in along the coastline. And in particular in San Francisco, it gets funneled through the Golden Gate, similar to a fire hose, and blows somewhere around 20, 25, even 30 most days in the summer. In the winter time, the Central Valley doesn't heat up as much, so we get pleasant light winds. After living on the Catalina 30 for about 10 months, we decided to do a major upgrade. This is our J133 named Defiant. If you see that little black dot running around on deck, that's our cat Whiskey. He likes to inspect all of our work. If we do anything that isn't up to his standard, he just makes sure to punish us by keeping us awake all night long. Here we are taking delivery of Defiant, taking her from Alameda over to Point Richmond. We had about 30 knots on the beam. We had a jib ready to go, but didn't need the extra power. We had a single reef in and motor sailing at about 9 to 10 knots. If you go outside of the bay during the summer, it's actually really nice. This is us going to Drake's Bay. And if you couldn't tell already, she's a pretty good race boat. Here we are racing the Point Richmond Yacht Club Wednesday night beer can races. This club has a really fun beer can race. They give out trophies, which are bottles of wine, to the people who seem to be having the most fun, as opposed to the people who win according to timed PHRF ratings. Having secured a wonderful race boat, we decided to swap out all the instruments, ask one of our good friends to weld a bow roller onto the bow, and headed south to Southern California. If I could give you one tip, it's not to leave the San Francisco Bay with 25 knots of wind coming in the gate and 5 knots of current going out the gate. Here's a little bit of what that looks like. had 2 crew members for the trip south. One was my father, who you can see here trimming me. The other was one of Ira's friends from architecture school named Lauren, who had bought our Catalina 30 and wanted some experience sailing offshore. This was definitely a spicy ride south, with 25 to 30 knots of wind off our starboard quarter for most of the time down the central coast, all the way to a calm rounding around Point Conception, and then finally a beautiful sail from Santa Barbara all the way into Dana Point.
I can't hear anything you're saying.
Waves get a little bit bigger.
Maybe.
After a full day of 25 knots, even if it is off the quarter, it gets pretty tiring. Here we are turning left, trying to tuck into San Simeon along the central coast of California to catch our breath, get a nap, and figure out when we're going to make the rounding around Point Conception. You want to time your rounding around Point Conception relatively carefully, especially when it's blowing 25 in the central coast. Point Conception is likely going to have more wind than that. San Simeon is a point of land that sticks out looking similar to a hook. Along the point, there's a number of tall trees serving as a windbreak. It's one of our favorite places to stop along the central coast. That's Hearst Castle up at the top of the hill, if you can see it. This is our very tired crew hanging out on deck. And here's our very tired crew hanging out down below.
Okay, what's the speed?
What?
What's the speed?
10.7, 8. Wind is 22. Flying a full main and basically a jib top. And just kind of touching 11 here is just basically flat water.
Nice, huh?
Pretty good.
You like being in SoCal?
Yeah, this is definitely SoCal. This is fantastic. Warm weather, fantastic wind. Inside Point Conception, so no big swells or anything, just sort of like mellow. Love it. This is what sailing should be.
But hey, we do like the views of San Francisco, don't we?
Yeah, we love to get beat up in San Francisco so we can appreciate this that much more.
That's a good point.
After rounding Point Conception, getting into some flat water, Lauren decided it was time to pick up her yoga practice again. Here she is with the newly invented sport of yacht yoga. By this point, we felt like we were really getting the hang of Southern California. We had been soaking up sun, doing yoga, and here we are training to be Southern California yacht racers. After passing the backside of Anacapa Island, the wind shut down as it usually does in the evenings and overnight in Southern California. We spent that night motoring through LA, Long Beach, and down to Dana Point with a full moon and a gentle swell behind us. Here we are pulling into Dana Point. Everybody wave. And here we are finally at the dock. And here's the cat finally making his appearance. Think it is the first thing that we did when we got into Dana Point? We went racing in the Dana Point Yacht Club beer can race. Thanks to Dana Point Yacht Club for having us. Can't wait to come back. Thank you all for watching this video about our trip from San Francisco to Dana Point in the summer of 2022. I hope you enjoyed it.